So we're all getting a Frank Ribery card for completing the daily penalty game, and I've got over 500 matches played with a different version of Ribery. So I think I'm in a good position to say what's going to be good about this card and what's going to be bad. There are a few key differences between these two cards, namely whether you'd want to play him as a left wing or an attacking midfielder. So I'm going to give builds based on which position you want to play him, which skills I'd recommend you use on him, and how to use the new booster crafting feature to make sure you get the best out of this Ribery card. Okay, so we're going to start off with the attacking midfielder build, and here it is. You can see it's very well rounded. If we take off the boosts, we're getting all the dribbling stats +3, the acceleration and balance getting the +3, and then the curl +3. So you're going to be hitting a lot of curl shots with this guy, hopefully. The passing is at 84. You might think you need 85, but I'll explain in a second why you don't need that. So when we put the boosters on, very well rounded, definitely kind of a perfect kind of playmaker in the middle in my eyes with these pass stats. And then when we put the booster on, so we're going to put on the passing booster that you can see here, because it's going to get +1 to kicking power and lofted pass, which is going to take us from 79 kicking power to 80, and then 89 lofted pass to 90. So we're going up a threshold there. So in my eyes, that makes the most sense. I have spent a good while kind of messing around to see which boosters give you the best jump from thresholds, and I feel like I've identified that as the best for attacking midfield position. Now, if we look at the skills I'm going to recommend on Ribery, 2 of them are going to apply to both left wing forward and attacking mid, and then 3 of them are going to depend on where you would rather play him. So for attacking midfielder, first you're going to want to put soul control and first time shot on. Soul control for the level 3 double touch. He already has double touch and flip flap, it makes sense. First time shot, just because when you're attacking midfielder, you're usually there for a cutback. Your striker kind of drifts to the side and then it opens up space in the middle. Attacking midfielder vacates, or sorry, fills up that space and, you know, puts it in the back of the net off the first time shot. So you definitely want that on him too. I'd go for weighted pass as well. As you can see with the build we have, we've invested quite a lot into passing. And remember, we're going to get that +1 to the 90 off the pass. So definitely an elite tier passer. So weighted pass will work well. And weighted pass isn't just for lofted passes, it's also for low passes too. So it's definitely going to be helpful, especially with how strong through balls are in this game now. I feel like you're going to notice passing skills like that more often. Next, I'd go for long range shooting, just to get him on the edge of the box shots a little bit stronger. Because he's an attacking midfielder, he'll be shooting from a bit further out than the strikers. And the last skill, one touch pass, again, just because true passing has become a lot stronger. I think when you have a player like Ribery where we've invested in his passing, let's make that properly. And I think it's a big difference with eFootball 24 where passing didn't really matter. I starting to believe in new eFootball, passing is quite important as a stat. So that's attacking midfielder done. We can go on to the right wing forward build now. And here it is. So you can see it's quite different. We're basically just taking off a lot of the passing and putting it into finishing. One thing, creative playmaker will still be active at left wing and right wing. But I do think it's better at an attacking midfielder for the type of player this Ribery card is. But I do think he will still be quite effective at left wing forward. So the dribbling stats are the same. We're going for that +3 boost, but the difference is we're getting that 85 finishing before the boost, whereas before we only had 80 on it. Now for this build, you can't really get the boosters to take you up to a threshold. The only stat there that's going to move up a threshold by a +1 is a stamina, but I wouldn't worry about stamina. I feel like stamina is a stat that you just can't worry about in this game. Stamina doesn't really seem to matter too much, and even when you have high stamina, the players are still empty by the end of the game. However, we can put a booster on Fantasista. If we put this on, it'll give a boost to our finishing and our balance. It'll take us to 89 finishing and balance. It won't get us to a threshold, but with form, it'll get us that bit closer to the threshold. Alternatively, you can reconfigure it so you get 89 finishing and 89 balance before the boost, put the last point in the passing, and then the Fantasista will put the +1 on finishing and balance, take us to 90 on each. So that could be quite effective. You might be worried about the lower dribbling. I wouldn't be too worried, just because some players in this game dribble well with low stats because their player ID is strong. So like Ribery, you know, very the legend because of his dribbling. So I feel like even if you lower his tight possession, it's not going to be a problem. 2 examples of players that you can relate to with this is Romario. If you have Romario and you give him low dribbling, he still dribbles fine. And then the other one would be Santos Neymar, who has really low tight possession but still dribbles as if it were in the 90s. So the skills for left wing Ribery are going to start off the same as AMF. We're going to start with soul control and first time shot. Afterwards, we're going to go for pinpoint crossing because we want to cut inside and pass or shoot. But if our opponent predicts it, it's handy to be able to go outside and hit in a cross. Then we're going to go for scissors feint. I have scissors feint on the other one, the older Ribery, quite effective. I'm really glad I have it. And then lastly, long range curler, cut in and shoot. You don't necessarily need to do knock-on finesses in this game. You can actually hit normal long-range finesse shots now. They've buffed it, and with this build, he's going to be really good at them with 89 finishing and 96 curl, and so that's decent. Well, maybe not decent, but whatever word is right below decent, kicking power for this level, 80. I think it won't be a major issue. So I think he will be good at finesse shots. So overall, an interesting card. I think Santos Neymar was definitely more interesting, but it is something. It's a legend. If I had to pick between the attacking midfielder build and the left wing forward build, personally, I would go for the attacking midfielder build. I think those passing stats with weighted pass as a skill put on top, I think would be very effective. But I don't know, what my last point about the left wing forward build with 96 curl and the long range curler, I do see it being very nice. And he does start with outside curler, so that 96 curl is going to be even more effective. With the 90 finishing we're putting on with the Fantasista boost, even with that outside curler and extremely high curl, you could play him right wing forward. I'm not the biggest fan of outside curler. I think it's more just if you're one-on-one with the keeper, then it's very effective. A bit further out, I'm not the biggest fan, although I have scored a couple in the new update from further distance, so I do think as a right wing forward it might be a use. Traditionally, I would have thought it's only for centre forwards and maybe attacking midfielders, but I think with the new update, with how strong shots are, or if you want to look at the other way, how weak keepers are, definitely will be able to hit some outside curlers with this guy. And then in that case, actually, you wouldn't, if you're playing a right wing, you wouldn't have to put pinpoint crossing on him because he's already on the right foot on the right wing. So you could take that pinpoint crossing off and put on a one-touch pass or a long-range shooting or weighted pass, whatever I recommended, whatever you fancy from what I recommended from the AMF skills. So definitely an interesting card. I do think he's versatile, and that's why he's going to be useful. If you're a free-to-play player, this is kind of how I would line up. I think it's the best selection. Now, this Mbappe is obviously a paid player, but his free France card that came out for the Euros is just as good, if not better. I have a video on that. So you would use a lineup like this. Maybe you would switch Messi to centre forward, particularly if you have the Copa America deep line forward version. And also you could use Messi as an attacking midfielder, Mbappe out wide, and then Maradona centre forward. But if we add Ribery into this equation, so just imagine this is the Fiorentina Ribery we're going to get. He fits in everywhere. You can play, well, not everywhere, but right wing, AMF and left wing, and then Neymar can fit in left wing, AMF and centre forward, and then Messi can play right wing, AMF and centre forward, and Mbappe can play left wing, centre forward and right wing. They've got a very versatile lineup there, and all these players, and every single player who plays this game for the last couple of months should have Neymar, a free Messi, a free Mbappe, and they will be getting a free Ribery too. So I think if you've got all of these players, as a free-to-play player, you've got a very good and effective and versatile front line. Unfortunately, I'm missing most of my penalties. I haven't missed a day yet, and I'm only this far in, so I might be a day behind most of the community getting my hands on this guy. But even though I have the other Bayern Munich, Frank Ribery, I do want to try this one out.